West, north, and south, the children of men spread and wandered, and the joy was the joy of the morning before the dew is dry, when every leaf is green. Welcome to Tales of Ada, where we discuss and explore Middle-earth. Today we will continue the story of the Edain, or men. After the Edain escaped Melkor's influence, they were split into 3 houses: the house of Halef, the house of Beor, and the house of Hador. Each house had their own features and history. The Beornians were most akin to the Noldor in physical characteristics. They had dark or brown hair with grey or brown eyes. Some were fair-haired. Their skin ranged from dark to pale. Most were broad and of stocky build. Those as tall as those of the folk of Hador were rare. They were eager, smart, and quick in learning, cunning-handed, and long in memory. They were moved sooner to pity than to laughter. They are also described to me more steadfast even than the folk of Hador, while enduring hardships and sorrow, slow to cry and to laugh. Many of those descended from Beornian stock had the traits most akin to those of the Noldor, such as Turin Turambar, whose mother, Morwen, was Beornian. He was mistaken for one of the Noldor, inspiring his name Adenethel, meaning man-elf. Not much is written on the physical appearance of the house of Halef, apart from it being stated that they were shorter than the house of Beor, who in turn were shorter than the house of Hador. The Silmarillion suggests dark hair and grey eyes. The Haladin, folk of the house of Halef, came from a different branch than the other Edain. They spoke in an unrelated dialect of Manish, and although some of them learned Sindarin to communicate with the Eldar, they weren't fluent in it. The house of Halef were fewer in number, and their birth rates were slightly enough to compensate for their losses of the war. They were secretive and conservative, unwilling to adopt new things and customs, remaining apart, preferring solitude, and to protect their woodlands instead of allying themselves with the elves and participating in greater events. In battle, they used axes to express their unique and wild way of living. They excelled in forest warfare, and orcs, even especially trained for this, dared not cross their borders. The people of the house of Hador tended to be hardy and enduring in cold and distances, strong, tall, bold, and steadfast, swift in body, with blue eyes, fair skin, and gold hair. They were noble and generous, ready in mind and quick to anger and laughter. They were marked as being the tallest men in Beleriand, save the elves. They were the largest of the houses and also the most warlike. Part of the Hadorians stayed in Middle-earth while their kin travelled west. These would later become the Eothaid, the ancestors of the Rohirrim. As they continued moving west, the tribes separated into 2 hosts, 2 tribes moving north and the other south. Eventually the 3 folks crossed Eriador and arrived at the Blue Mountains. Beor and some of his folk were the first men to enter Beleriand around the 4th century of the First Age. The next year the vanguard of the Haladin followed. Last came the house of Hador. When King Finrod Felagund went on a hunt with Maedhros and Maegor, he grew weary. He followed the dwarven roads until he saw a light in the distance. He came closer and saw a strange group of people singing and dancing around the fire. He, however, could not understand their words. He came closer only when they fell asleep. Finrod sat down and began to sing and play. The men awoke in astonishment, not believing their own eyes, thinking first that this is one of the Valar that they had only heard of. The elf was able to talk to and understand these men, as he learned quickly their dialect. Finrod and Beor became great friends. Here ends today's video. We will carry on the history of the Edain in next week's video. Thank you for watching.